My sister Sarah and I have always been close, like two peas in a pod. We shared everything: clothes, secrets, dreams. And when I met Mark, it was no different. He wasn't just my fiancé. He quickly became a part of our little trio. He and Sarah got along like a house on fire, sharing inside jokes and a love for old movies that even I couldn't keep up with. I loved seeing them so happy together. It felt like my world was perfectly complete. Mark was the love of my life, and my sister was my best friend. What more could a girl ask for? Our wedding was just 3 months away. The planning was a whirlwind of excitement, stress, and endless decisions about flowers and guest lists. One evening, after a particularly grueling session of cake tasting, I came home to find Sarah sitting on my couch, looking unusually quiet. She had this distant look in her eyes, a sadness I hadn't seen in a long time. I sat down next to her, putting an arm around her shoulders. "Hey, what's wrong? You've been off all day." She just shook her head, forcing a weak smile. "It's nothing, Chloe. Just tired." But I knew my sister better than that. This wasn't just tiredness. Something was deeply bothering her, and my gut told me it was serious. A few days later, the truth finally came out, and it shattered my world in a way I could never have imagined. We were supposed to be trying on bridesmaid dresses, but Sarah couldn't even pretend to be excited. She burst into tears in the middle of the boutique. I rushed her to a nearby cafe, my heart pounding with worry. After she calmed down a little, she took a deep breath and looked me straight in the eye. "Chloe," she whispered, her voice trembling, "I need to tell you something. I'm sick. The doctors, they say it's bad. I don't have much time left." The words hit me like a physical blow. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. My vibrant, full-of-life sister was telling me she was dying. It felt like a cruel, impossible nightmare. Over the next few weeks, reality set in. Sarah had a rare, aggressive form of heart disease. The prognosis was grim. 6 months, maybe a year if she was lucky. The wedding planning came to a screeching halt. All that mattered now was Sarah. Mark was a rock through it all. He was there for every doctor's appointment, every late-night phone call, every tearful breakdown. He was strong for both of us, and I loved him more than ever for it. But as the days turned into weeks, I started noticing something. A quiet, profound sadness was growing in Sarah. It was more than just fear of the inevitable. It was a deep, gnawing regret. One afternoon, as we sat in her favorite park, she finally told me what was on her mind. "I've never been in love, Chloe," she said, her voice barely a whisper. "I've never had someone look at me the way Mark looks at you. I've never been on a real date, had a first kiss. I'm going to die without ever knowing what it feels like to be truly loved." Her words broke my heart into a million pieces. My beautiful, kind sister, who deserved all the happiness in the world, was being robbed of life's most precious experiences. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to give her everything she'd ever wanted, but how could I give her a lifetime of love in just a few short months? That night, I couldn't sleep. Sarah's words echoed in my mind. I looked at Mark sleeping peacefully beside me, and a crazy, unthinkable idea started to form. It was insane. It was wrong on so many levels. But the more I thought about it, the more it felt right. It was the only way I could give Sarah a piece of the happiness she so desperately craved. The next morning, my hands were shaking as I sat Mark down. I could barely look him in the eye as I explained my idea. "Mark," I started, my voice cracking, "I want you to do something for me." "For Sarah?" He looked at me confused. "Anything, Chloe, you know that." I took a deep, shuddering breath. "I want you to date her. Take her out. Show her what it's like to be cherished and adored. Give her the memories she'll never have the chance to make." Mark was stunned into silence. He stared at me as if I had grown a second head. "Chloe, are you hearing yourself? You want me to date your sister? We're getting married." I started to cry, the full weight of my desperate request crashing down on me. "I know it's crazy, but she's dying, Mark. She's never been in love. All I want is for her to feel that just once. Please, It would just be for a little while. Just to give her that one beautiful experience before she's gone. He ran his hands through his hair, pacing the room. He saw the desperation in my eyes, the raw pain. After what felt like an eternity, he stopped and knelt in front of me. "Okay," he said softly. "Okay, Chloe, for you?" "For Sarah, I'll do it." Telling Sarah was even harder. At first she refused. "Chloe, no, I can't do that to you. He's your fiancé." But I insisted. I told her it was my idea, my gift to her. I framed it as Mark and I doing this together for her. I begged her not to deny me this one chance to give her some happiness. Reluctantly, tearfully, she finally agreed, and so it began. The strangest, most painful chapter of my life. Mark started taking Sarah out on dates. He'd bring her flowers, take her to fancy dinners, and walk with her along the beach at sunset. He played the part of the perfect, doting boyfriend. And I played the part of the supportive, understanding sister and fiancé. On the outside I smiled. I encouraged them. I'd ask Sarah how her date went, listening as she gushed about how sweet and thoughtful Mark was. But on the inside I was crumbling. Every time he walked out the door with her, a piece of me broke. I see them laughing together, sharing a private joke, and a bitter jealousy I was ashamed of would churn in my stomach. I'd lie awake at night, alone in our bed, wondering what they were doing, what they were saying. Was he holding her hand? Had he kissed her? The thought was agony. This was my idea, my sacrifice, but I had never imagined how much it would hurt. I felt like I was directing a play where the love of my life was falling for someone else, and I was forcing myself to watch from the wings. The change in Sarah was remarkable. She was glowing. The sadness in her eyes was replaced by a sparkle I hadn't seen in years. She was living, truly living, for the first time in a long time. She talked about the future, about things she wanted to do, almost as if she'd forgotten she was sick. And Mark was changing too. He seemed more distant with me, more reserved. Our conversations became strained, filled with unspoken words. When I tried to talk to him about us, about our wedding, he would gently change the subject back to Sarah. He was spending more and more time with her, even when they weren't on their dates. He said he was just being a good friend, supporting her. But I saw the way he looked at her. It was the same way he used to look at me. The breaking point came one evening about 2 months into this bizarre arrangement. I came home early and heard them talking in the living room. I stopped in the hallway, not wanting to interrupt. "I've never felt this way about anyone," I heard Sarah say, her voice full of emotion. And then Mark replied, his voice soft and full of a tenderness that made my blood run cold. "Me neither, Sarah. Being with you. It's like I'm seeing the world in color for the first time." My world stopped. It wasn't an act anymore. It was real. He was in love with my sister. And the first, in my desperate attempt to give her a moment of happiness, had handed him to her on a silver platter. I stumbled back, my hand over my mouth to stifle a sob, and fled the house. I confronted Mark the next day. The guilt and pain were written all over his face. He didn't deny it. He admitted he had fallen in love with Sarah. He said he never meant for it to happen. But her spirit, her strength, her zest for a life in the face of death, he just couldn't help it. He was torn apart, he said, because he still loved me, but what he felt for Sarah was different, something new and powerful. I broke off the engagement right then and there. I couldn't marry a man who was in love with my sister, even if I was the one who pushed them together. The pain was unbearable. I had lost my fiancé and my sister in one fell swoop. I distanced myself from both of them. I couldn't bear to see them together. The wedding was cancelled, and I tried to piece my shattered life back together. About a month later, I got a call from the hospital. Sarah had taken a turn for the worse. When I arrived, Mark was by her bedside, holding her hand. Seeing them together still hurt, but seeing my sister so frail and weak hurt more. She passed away 2 days later, with both of us by her side. After the funeral, Mark and I finally had a long, difficult conversation. He was devastated, lost. He apologized over and over again for the pain he caused me. He confessed that his love for Sarah was real, but it was tangled up in her illness, a desperate desire to save her. Now that she was gone, he was just empty. It's been a year now. Mark and I never got back together. The trust was broken in a way that could never be repaired. We sometimes talk as friends who have shared a profound, complicated tragedy. I've been going to therapy, learning to forgive him, and more importantly, to forgive myself. I made a reckless choice out of love and desperation, and I have to live with the consequences. I don't regret giving my sister those last few months of happiness. Seeing her smile, truly smile, was worth my own heartbreak. But I've learned a hard lesson. Sometimes in trying to fix someone else's pain, you can end up breaking your own heart. I miss my sister every single day, and I'll carry the memory of her and this story with me forever. Thank you for listening. Please remember to take care of your own mental health and always seek help if you're struggling. Don't forget to follow for more stories.